What's going on, everybody? So a lot of people have been flooding me with questions about how did Problem Right shut down Volterax's Swerve? Is Harrison Smith that good? All that stuff like that. Listen to me. I'm going to go ahead and break it down to you right now exactly what happened with it. And I'm going to also address a lot of other different issues regarding the Swerve, it being an exploit. I know you guys heard RG a lot of times during the commentary say that the Swerve is an exploit, which in many cases people can argue that because you've always been able to swerve, but defensively you've been able to do a lot of what Problem Right was able to do yesterday, and that's strafe up and intercept the ball depending on how it's thrown. Now, I will tell you this, Harrison Smith is not that good. He's a decent defender that's able to, you know, he's 6'2". Regardless of what his jumping is, he was able to set up properly because if you guys understand what the swerve mechanic is, Volterax continuously threw bullet pass swerves. All he had to do was lob the swerve and Problem would have been swerved. But that's a big stage. You're talking about a 19-year-old guy that just wasn't able to understand. Problem Right is a seasoned veteran. He's going to know what's going on. He's going to understand it. If you see the first swerve that was successful with Volterax, you would understand that based on the way that Problem was running the nickel blitz, which is another thing that I don't understand. People complain a lot about the swerve, but everybody runs nickel blitz. Problem Right was running the bench route, throwing low passes, which could be technically considered something that's cheesy, whatever like that. Nobody mentions those things. And like I said, I'll never complain about what my opponent does. Anybody that does that, like, I can't respect that individual. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it's within the game, it's really, really ridiculous that people are like, oh, bro, oh, the swerve. Like, you dudes are just, I guess that's just the way some people are built. But if you guys have been on the competitive scene for, you know, for a decent amount of time, because I've never really played competitive with the online system that Madden has been doing, you know, more recently. I didn't do the Madden bus and all that stuff like that, but I played a lot in New York City in various places, you know, competitions and stuff like that, and won a lot. And I'm gonna tell you this, guys didn't complain about anything you did. They were just like, yo, bro, how'd you do, you know, after the game, yo, how'd you do that, Gmia? Yo, you know, what was that defense you was running? What was that offense? What was that play? That's what it used to be. Now you just got grown men running around crying about the swerve, crying about this, crying about that. So I'm just going to go ahead and put it out there. I don't respect any individual that cries about anything. Because if you guys remember last year when Stiffmeister won the championship, that was an A gap that was considered cheese, right? You know what I'm saying? People running the dollar, what is it? The dime 326 or whatever that was, or 236, whatever it was. I think that True Boy was one of those guys that started that off or whatever after the patch. And he sacked Problem Right continuously on the big stage regularly, bro, and that's why nano detection was put into the game this year. You know what I'm saying? Because you could block that. It was difficult to block it, but you could block it. But it was something that, you know, when you see it as a programmer on such a big stage, EA Sports had to do something about that. But it's not really, Stiffmeister's not referred to as a cheeser for winning that championship. But if you look at it, if you want to be a crybaby and tweet about the, you know, the swerve and the swerve, this and all that stuff, that's pretty much what you are. And people have to understand. I'm going to go right now and I'm going to show you out of the Philadelphia playbook, like, because nickel blitz it's a very, very unique situation. All right, I'm going to show you out of the nickel normal right now. The #1 blitz being run in Madden, you know, Boogs is running it, Joke is running it. Joke may end up, you know, putting in some work with it. Now look, this nickel blitz, right? You can flip it, you can send a linebacker from the other side, you can do a lot of different things with it. What was happening with Volt was this. Problem Right studied that empty set out of the Kansas City Chiefs playbook, or whoever flew, you know, gave him the information. You know, they were saying that he called up some of his boys and they gave him some information. Whatever he did, and he knew how to get heat on it for that speed burst glitch that he was running. One of the interceptions that he got with Hayward Bay, I would never try to do anything with Hayward Bay because Hayward Bay is a bum. But again, Volterax had him starting because that gave chemistry to Chris Johnson to make Chris Johnson faster. Also, don't forget that play, if you guys go right now, it's on the past broadcast of EA Sports, the game between Volterax and Problem. When Problem got that fumble, when he was under center, he was in strong, strong pair with the one wide receiver on the left, and Problem Right came in and sacked, and it was a fumble. That changed the game. That made Volt have to score a lot faster because, you know, Problem with the ball, he's gonna, you know, he's gonna chew clock. He knows what he's doing. He's a seasoned veteran. That's what I'm saying. And I've never had any hate for any way that any of these guys play the game, but for people to, you know, support Volt and then in the same breath, oh yeah, I knew the swerve would, you know, those dudes, like I said, that's why I don't associate with a lot of these Madden dudes in the community, because when something is working for you, everything is good, but when it doesn't work, everybody else is the bad guy. And that's why there's so many soft men you know, in the world right now that portray themselves as something that they're not. Because you can't argue and tell your fans or whoever that, oh yeah, bro, exploit this, exploit that, but then you're running nickel blitz every play, you're running $326 or whatever you're doing. It doesn't really matter. It's part of the game. It's in the game. It wasn't banned by EA Sports in the championship, so that it is what it is. So I'm gonna show you both plays. Now, with this nickel blitz, I have very specific setups for it, but the way I run it, I don't run it out of nickel blitz. I run mine out of cover 4. Where's cover 4? Is it even shown here? Wait, okay, cover 4. I run it out of cover 4, and I have my own unique setup for it. If you watch me stream at GmiasWorld, you'll see it. And that's how, you know, I don't like to run what everybody else is running. So the thing about it with the angle is, with the blitzing angle, you can't contain an angle that's not blitzing unless it's already blitzing. So that nickelback, if you wanted to contain it, you would get that contain angle, and a lot of people run it with the contain, and that's why they use specific nickel blitz. I have ways of doing the same exact thing out of every defensive formation, whatever like that I figured out myself, okay? But let's get back to the nickel blitz that Problem Bright was running. When you run this blitz, if you understand how to set it up for different formations, it's gonna scream. And it was screaming at Volterax. And instead of Volt understanding that you can't swerve if you throw a bullet pass that fast, he kept doing it. And it made Problem Right look like he really knew how to lock the swerve up. I'm not saying that he didn't play it well. What I'm trying to say is this. With the swerve, you need a little bit of time to be able to set it up if you're going to bullet pass it. Now, if you throw the bullet pass very, very quickly, you give your opponent time to strafe, to turn around and stop solid. If you lob the swerve, it's impossible because they're already trying to slow down and your guy is still running, and then you can maneuver it and you can beat him over the top. Okay, let's go to Volterax's play out of the Kansas City playbook. And I'm going to explain to you what happened with it and what the speed burst is and what's going on with it and everything like that. All right, Kansas City, right? So Volt's play that he was running, where is it? Where is bunch quads, eagle, H type? Is it? Okay, so it's this, right? All right, now this is an empty set, and what happens is with these blue routes can pick up different things or whatever. You know, I'm just like letting you guys understand the format of it, right? The blue routes, when you're like that, usually those blue routes will pick up the edge blitzer off a nickel blitz. It wasn't working because I saw what Problem Right was doing. I'm not gonna say what he was doing because that man makes his money off his ebooks and his brand. That's not for me to put out something that he's running. But I know what he's running because I've seen it so many times and so many other people run it. But Volt wasn't used to it, and he expected these blue routes because he flips the play in order to get that speed burst, right? And he expected those guys to be able to pick up that blitz, which didn't happen. So because of the speed rush off the right side and he's trying to swerve on the right, that caused the problem. And Problem Right, knowing that he had to throw the ball fast, was able to click on, not hold triangle right away, because if you would have held triangle right away, you would have got swerved. It's the click on, strafe, because remember, your guy's going to slide around a little bit, so you need time to do that also. You got to strafe, stop your guy in position, and then tap triangle when the ball is in the air, and he will just jump up and do it. If you look at it, you'll see it. So when you dissect it in that fashion, it was pretty much scheme and scheme. Okay, you know a guy's scheme, you know a guy got this far swerving, so you know he's going to do that. That was the sole purpose of Problem Right understanding that the defense actually worked out for him. Now, with me, the reason that I'm referred to as a swerve god, I swerve out of anything. Volt has a very, very distinct formula of how he swerves. So because this formation was something that was so widely seen, you're going up against the GOAT. He's the greatest of all time. He's seen the formation. You're not going to beat him with that formation. So that's why I give a lot of credit to Problem, because he doesn't cry about things that are in the game. He finds ways to stop it. And if people would understand that, I think Madden, as it's continuing to grow, would be a lot better as far as the community. Because, you know, guys may cry about the Siwoo Bleacher Blitz or whatever. Like, people just cry about anything, bro. And like I said, when you've played this game for so long, you understand that for everything that somebody does, you have to figure out a way to stop it. Unless you're like Kouppa, go live, KOUPPA, and you're IP booting, and then there's no way to stop that with online play. Everything else within the game, you should be able to figure out a way to stop it, whether you have to run the ball, whatever. Your Problem Right went to the finals running fullback dive in Madden 16. That's the guy that knows what he's doing. He knows what works. They didn't call it an exploit because the fullback dive was 5 yards a pop or whatever it was, and Stiffmeister shut it down. That's what competitive play is. So for all the guys, you know, you're watching, if you watch a guy that's complaining about the swerve or whatever it is, like, you got to really question, like, Why is another man, you know, talking about an exploit when you got to see pressure bust pipes and Problem sent that pressure on a. So when that's happening, that stops everything. It's nothing you could do when the heat is coming, and it's nothing you could do when the heat is coming, and nano detection can't edge. So that's the breakdown. That's how Problem beat Volterax. So it's not as much a thing about, you know, the whole swerve, you know, the swerve exploit and, oh bro, this and that. Has nothing to do with that. It's about scheme versus scheme. If you look at Skimbo and the way Skimbo has, you know, made the bunch formation so unstoppable, that's the way that Skimbo runs it. Skimbo puts in those hours to make that different. He runs it differently. That's what it's about. That's what Madden should be. And people should stop complaining about everything else and just get better. Just get better, bro. Find ways to do it. Stop crying so much. Stop. It's just very, very annoying that you have these grown men running around like, oh my God, exploit this, exploit. Shut up. You know what I'm saying? If you see guys come, just shut up, bro. Like, I'm not asking for any friends or any things like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, just shut the F up, man. Because as you can see, when you look at it, and a lot of people hate on Problem. And like I told you, I can never hate on another man getting money, doing it the way Problem does it, regardless if you have problems with him, whatever like that. Because the man knows how to prepare. So if you see him go out there and do that, and then now you want to jump on the Problem bandwagon when a lot of you guys were hating on Problem all year, all of a sudden Problem's a superhero. That's the whole superficial, ridiculous, two-faced crap in the Madden community that causes a lot of issues. Because if Problem lost to Volt, the same guys would be part of the Volt army. That's just the way it goes. Nobody has loyalty. That's why, like I said, you got to be careful of who you conduct business with. But regardless of that, that's the breakdown of it. That's what pretty much made and broke the game in every part that I just, you know, deciphered. If you guys have any questions or anything like that, definitely hit me up in the comment section. You know where to find me at GmiasWorld on Twitter. It's always one love, and you know we coming back strong. Shout out to Volterax and Problem. That was a very, very good game. You know, one guy just outplayed the other. It's as simple as that. It happens like that. That's just the way it happens. We watching the Super Bowl, this GOAT that you're looking at right now, Tom Brady, come back from however many down versus the Falcons. So anything is possible as long as you prepare well for it. And Problem came out on top. Give that man some kudos. I'm going to see you guys and girls next time. One love.